Welcome back to the Buds in the Box podcast. The Leafs win 5-1 against the Montreal Canadiens in game 2, which ties the series at 1-1 apiece. After the Leafs game 1, basically their lowest of lows, they lost not only their captain and leader John Tavares, but they lost against the Montreal Canadiens, which is a low in itself. They bounced back and they won this game. All we have to do is play better than our game 1 performance, and we will have the series in the bag, no problem. But before I ask the boys about their initial thoughts on the game, we have a little announcement to make. So right here, the boys and I have our People's Cups with the Toronto Maple Leafs logo on it. It is shaped like the Stanley Cup and one of the coolest designs I've ever seen. There's only a limited amount, and it's an incredible display glass, or with everything opening back up, a great party glass. Even if you're not a Leafs fan, there's like other designs. There's an Ottawa design and a Canadian and a Habs design for sure I know about. And we will have a discount code for you guys closer to Father's Day. So stay tuned for that announcement. Now,
Guys,
what do you guys think? Go ahead, Felly.
I want to say one thing more about this People's Cup cup here. You can actually take shots out of the top as it's
really cool.
as it's a smaller little cup and drink, bigger drinks out of the big side of the cup. I thought that was a really cool design that was included into this. So that's awesome.
Yeah, we'll leave a link to the description for this awesome product. Now, your initial thoughts on the game.
Listen, I thought that was how the Leafs should play. I think going down early is never good, and I'm not gonna lie, I was worried. The Leafs playing against the Habs, listen, that's exactly what the Habs want. They want to play from in front so they can literally dump it in and trap. That's their game plan. It's pretty obvious to me that that's their game plan, to dump it in and trap like that after just getting like a 1 or 2 goal lead, right? So Jason Spezza bouncing back pretty quickly was absolutely exactly what the Leafs needed. All in all, that's how the Leafs need to play if they want to win this series, if they want to win the cup. Everything was basically running pretty smoothly. I thought the fourth line played really well. I thought the third line played really well. I thought the second line played really well. Like Foligno slid to center spot due to Tavares' injury and looked pretty good. Won 12 out of 14 faceoffs, by the way. Foligno did. So that's pretty awesome. And then Matthews, Marner, and Hyman. I thought Hyman was a little bit unnoticeable at times. I think he's still trying to get back into it from his injury. But Matthews and Marner looked pretty good again. And same with all the defense. If Bogosian doesn't win the Norris, I'll be really surprised, honestly, because he deserves it. So Bogo for Norris, by the way.
Yeah, that's ending on a great statement because he's just honestly obviously, as we know, the Norris leader. But no, and all jokes aside, that was a great game from Bogosian. He played exactly how we needed him. He was physical. And I just actually wanted to talking about my favorite players of the game. I think we're gonna actually start a new segment in our podcast, which is a cool new thing to hear, and that is actually our personal most valuable players of that game. So I know me and Felly have a very similar player, which is the exact same player, and I'm just gonna say Jason Spezza, and then I'll let Felly get into it a little bit more. But we all, like Felly said, he got the Leafs groove back in, kind of thing.
Yeah. And of course, as you know, the Leafs won, but it wasn't, smooth right from the start. They started a little bit, we had Sam Hosack on the podcast, and he gave us, a little bit of a hot take of what he thought the lineups were going to be. And, we were joking about it, like, oh, they put Simmons on the first line. That's what Sam Hosack had. So it was pretty funny. But they had Simmons, Hyman, and Matthews, which, I think every Leafs fan was confused about, but it didn't really stay that way. They did get off to a hot start, and, we were kind of hyped about that until 8 minutes in, a turnover by Hall. Felly called it, and the Habs score.
Yeah, let me just go over this goal really quickly because it was a developing play that you could see from the second Justin Holt touched the puck. It was the puck. He picked it up at the blue line. I don't know. Did it come from the neutral zone where he picked? I think he picked it up from the neutral zone. It was kind of
No,
like a
no,
fluttering.
it was a dump in. Yeah, the dump in was from the neutral
It
zone,
came
just behind the net, right?
so it came in from the neutral zone, and he didn't go right up with it, which is there was no play really. His D partner was getting pressured by another forward, by I believe it was the other winger, and he started to just go backwards. And as you could see the play developing, it was just like stop going backwards, chip the puck off the wall and get it out. If you don't have a play, chip the puck off the wall and get it out outside the blue line, right? Then at least everyone's back, right? Everyone's back in the zone. If you dump it, even if you just give them back possession, right? So it was just a play developing terribly for the Leafs. Like everything was going wrong. Justin Holt did some spread eagle move instead of literally just turning around and taking the puck behind the net. He like did some fancy thing with his feet to try and maneuver his way backwards. It was just everything
He
about
just
it.
board played himself. It was, I don't know.
Everything about it, you knew it was going to turn out bad. I was saying as the play was developing that this is going to turn into a goal, and it was going to be all Hull's fault, and it did. He turned lo and behold, he turned the puck over. They got a bunch of pressure on and scored. That being said, they got a lot of lucky bounces there. It was not Campbell's fault whatsoever. On that note, Campbell had an amazing game.
Mm-hmm.
Once again, I have trust in Campbell. And game one, he had a great game too. Obviously, he was in his head a little bit about Tavares, like the whole team was, but he had a really good game, and this game he did too. So, but yeah, that first goal, I don't like blaming goals on one guy because it did, it develops, like the whole play is developing from different things, but it was mainly his fault that the puck was even in the zone in the first place. So
I mean, yeah, you say you don't want to blame it on one person, but the sole reason they had possession there and that could have been easily avoided was because of Hull. So you got to look at it just like that. But even after that play, Hull wasn't on his man. He was trying to play goalie when Campbell was kind of flopping around after the puck hit three different skates, five different sticks. It was touched everybody before it hit the net, went into the net. So I don't know what Hull was kind of doing there in terms of defensive. Even after that, so. I think that kind of got in his head to play behind the net, and he was like, "Oh, if this goes in, it's my fault. If this goes in, it's my fault." And then he just kept letting it progress to make it his fault, kind of thing. So, I mean, you really can't blame Campbell. He made two saves on it, and then like one pretty good save, a desperation, and then like you're just kind of lying there. So
yeah, and it's not like everyone makes mistakes, right? So it's not like we're trying to blame the goal on Justin Holl, right?
yeah.
Everyone makes mistakes. It's just that in the playoffs you can't. There's no excuse, right? It's the playoffs. You make the safe play, right? If it was like a regular season game and the score was 3-0 Leafs, and it's a different story, making a mistake, right? But it's early in the game in game 2 where it's basically a must win because you don't want to go down 2-0 in a series. So it's basically a must win game for the Leafs, It's not, but it is. So those are mistakes that just can't be made. They're easily avoidable, and he knows he made a mistake. I'm sure he got an earful from the coach, whoever it was at the if it was Keefe or if it was one of the other coaches, but I'm sure he got an earful about it. And he knows, and I'm sure he'll try to tighten up on it. It's just something that can't happen. It's that inconsistency that we're talking about with Justin Holl, right? And I get that it's basically his first year playing a full season in the NHL. He's
With a
new,
role.
right? He might be 30 years old, but he's new to the NHL, right? Playing a full season. So with a role, right? So can't blame him, but at the same time, you got to be able to trust him in situations like that.
Yeah, and I think you are right about he knew he did that wrong. You can see the camera angle is pointed at him after the Canadians celebrate, and he's like, oh, like all looking all pouty. But talking about the Leafs and their momentum, I did talk about this a lot during this season. The Leafs' identity is they don't give up. I like to compare them to the Senators in that fashion, but the old Leafs teams, they would go down 1 or 2 goals, that's it. They're flat-footed for the rest of the game. Nothing happens. But they're able to turn this game around, and I know they are the better team, but it's still, like Felly always says, you can't be, fighting from behind and always down a goal. But this Leafs team, they can always overcome that, and it's how you deal with adversity. 12 minutes in, Jason Spezza from Bogo for Norris. Great pressure by the Leafs, and that line kept. It was Kerfoot, Engvall, and Mikheyev. They just shot after shot, missing the net, on net, whatever. Spezza comes on the ice, skates in a straight line, and just snipes it. Beautiful goal by Spezza.
Amidst all this, Foligno missed a wide open net, by the way. Well, I was pulling my hair out, but
yeah. And Spezza was on the ice for 6 seconds prior to that goal. So, I mean,
yeah,
knows how quickly the play developed right onto his stick. And you know what? It was just right in the back of the net. And that's great for us, is getting an early and a goal that Price can put on his back kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. And we always talk about Spezza's shot here on this podcast. It's unbelievable.
For his age.
For his age especially. And I think he's always had a good shot, but especially for his age, he has a really, really, really good shot. It's above average for sure among NHL players, but that was a perfectly placed shot, and that is what you need to get Price off his high horse.
Yeah,
not that he's on a high horse or anything like that, but it's more of like what's it called, like a mental thing for Price, right? Like he knows now that he's not a superhuman god that's not going to let in any goals, right?
Yeah,
he let in 4 tonight. So
yeah. I think the goal was for the Leafs to not make Price feel comfortable in that net, and goal achieved for sure. Right after Spezza's goal, just chances after chances, the pressure was pouring on the Montreal Canadiens. And in the second period, Matthews scored from Justin Hall and Mitch Marner. I just realized I forgot the time, but I don't think that really matters. A good read by Hall, and we were so hyped about this, even though the goal horn went off before. But
okay. I got a Budweiser red light for my birthday, and we were watching on like a different stream. So you got to try and set it so it's like delayed or whatever, but it went off early, like way too early, and the puck, like the play was still developing in the neutral zone, and we heard the horn go off, and we were like, oh man, but we were excited still. But
Justin Hall made a great play, and Matthews made an even better one, just driving to that net. Great read by Hall, and then even better by Matthews to the net, got the pucks on pads, rebound, and just a proof that Matthews can't. It's not just a shot; he can score in any possible way. So,
textbook play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then a few minutes after that one, Sandin. Oh my God, this was probably the best goal of the game. I feel. We give a lot of hate to Chris Cuthbert. Is that what it is? Cuthbert. So, we disagree with him all the time. And right before this, or the power play before actually, he was saying that, Sandin is too afraid to shoot, and all he's doing is passing it to Marner and Matthews. We saw Marner working on his 1T in practice. So we're going to see a little bit of that. They were kind of shitting on Sandin. Matthews across to Marner up to Sandin, 100 miles per hour. Yeah. A slap shot right in the back of the net. Carey Price has absolutely no chance. How hyped were you guys?
Well, I mean, we were obviously ecstatic at that moment. We were all so happy. But the minute I saw Joe Thornton's stick touch Carey Price's pant string, I caught my pants. I was like, that's a goalie interference right there.
Oh man.
That could have untied his pants, and that could have been the end of the game. You know what I mean? That could have ended Price's career. No call on the shot on Tavares though, whatever. But that's challenged by the Montreal Canadiens. I just wanted to say we all know that we have a lot to say on this, and that's just so out of pocket. I don't know.
Out of pocket. It came from left field. It came straight from left field, man.
What was he pointing at on the screen there, yo?
Bro. Well, here's the thing. So to start about the goal, obviously, Rasmus Sandin. I said this yesterday. I'm not saying this because they won the game or because of anything. You can ask Jude, Jude will back me up here. I have been saying that Rasmus Sandin is an NHL player.
We made a video
And
on it.
next year, 2 years from now, he will be one of the best defensemen in the league. Okay? Hot take, but I think he'll be one of the best defensemen in the league. So just to start off, I mean, this guy, I think he's 185 pounds, something like that. 190, maybe. He
Lucky.
shot that puck so hard. We were like, oh, that's a nice shot. Like, that was a good goal. And then it pops up on the screen, 98.5 miles an hour. That's unbelievably hard.
Mhm.
Like that was crazy. Anyways, then to go to that challenge, the second part of this weird conversation about this challenge was, so in the NFL, right?
180 pounds.
He's just under 180 pounds shooting that kind of shot. Anyways, in the NFL, they have a guy. Each team has a guy or a couple guys sitting in a video room, looking at every single play, discussing whether they should challenge it or not. Okay, so like they have guys that are like fully trained to call down to the coach and say, challenge this, it will be called back. Whether, that's in the NFL. So in the NHL, there is someone on each team. I can guarantee you the Leafs have a guy.
Yep.
I guarantee you a lot of NHL teams have a guy sitting in a room, literally just watching offsides, watching goalie interferences on goals, things like that call down to the ice and say, you got to challenge this right now. This play was fully just the Montreal Canadiens GM being pissed off. He was so mad that they were losing. So he decided that he thought it was interference, and the coach literally just had to listen to him and challenge it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, they have those guys talking right on the bench shop. So there was obviously a lot of anger in that play, right? For the Montreal Canadiens, and I just thought, you know what? I found something pretty funny. If you guys kind of missed that challenge, which some people do if they're listening to it on the radio or something like that, the camera really tells the story because the only reason the ref sat there for 5 minutes was because they were like, "Are we missing something here?" Because Joe Thornton's stick literally touched his pad. That's it.
After the puck went in.
So I don't know if you guys can see that, but
Here, wait, put it like a little closer to the screen. Is Matthew smiling there?
wait.
Oh, you can't read it. Can you read it, Eric?
I can't read.
Oh yeah, he can't read.
Here, read it out to us.
It says Mark Bergevin saying, "Where do we get one of those?" And he's pointing right to Matthews.
He's pointing at Matthews. That's
yeah.
funny.
So I mean, that's probably the only thing they saw. They were thinking, how do we get an elite goal scorer on our team like that? Because clearly Caulfield was a. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I mean, what else can you ask for a player like Sandin? And man, day by day, he's looking closer and closer to being like taking Morgan Riley's spot.
Yeah.
Like I think he's gonna be unbelievable. But that challenge was just super weird, and his stick, Thornton's stick touched Price's pad after the puck went over the line.
Yeah.
So it was just, and the thing is, usually if a goal is questionable, the goalie will really argue it.
Yeah.
Which is always like it sucks to see your team score and then the goalie start arguing because it's going to get challenged.
Yeah.
Often, like, the coach will trust the goalie and challenge it. This was just out of complete left field.
Price literally didn't even blink.
Carey Price was just like, took his drink of water and like was completely fine. Like, he was like, that sucks, I let in a goal. Yeah. He wasn't thinking like that was goalie interference at all. There was no one in the crease. There was no one near him. Anyway, it was just a really weird, poor sportsmanship, I think, thing to do. Because I think they were just mad that they were down by 2 at that point. But anyways.
Yeah, and the goal party didn't stop there. Heading into the third period, 9 minutes in, Nylander scores from Matthews and Riley, the second power play of the game. Sorry, the second power play goal of the game. So it's awesome to see that power play buzzing. And Matthews takes a rocket of a shot off the post, and then Nylander just gets the rebound, and Price cannot save that. So what do you guys think?
Matthews has hit that far side twice, both games. Once in the first game and once in the second game off that one-timer. So it's one's bound to go in. I think it's beat Price twice, and the post has saved them twice. So one of those is bound to go in soon, but obviously it was awesome that Nylander's finished it off, and Nylander's got 2 goals right now in 2 games. So that's awesome to see. What do you think, Jude?
You summed it up perfectly. I mean, that's great seeing Nylander 2-2. That's awesome. So
Yeah, of course. And just to finish off the game, 19 minutes in, Kerfoot seals the deal. So Kerfoot seals the deal, assist by Nylander, which was his second point of the night, I believe. Empty net, and that'll do it. 5-1 for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Now, you guys wanted to do the star of the game, so who wanted to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first here. For this game, I wrote down 3 stars. Leafs win, 3 stars type of game. Okay, because I could choose one, but the other 2 I kind of were right there. So I really wanted to acknowledge them quickly. So the third star I have is Nick Foligno. Nick Foligno won 12 of his 14 faceoffs, which I've already mentioned today, but that's unbelievable. He stepped in Tavares' role, and he had a really good night. He wasn't as physical, but that's what happens when you move to center. You can't be as physical as you can when you're on the wing. So he was really positionally well defensively. I thought he was really good, and he had his fair share of chances at the net. Him and Nylander looked like they were moving well together. Galchenyuk fit right in with him. So Nick Foligno was a really good piece in today's game. Second star, Rasmus Sandin. Obviously, he scored, but he really isn't making that many mistakes. And knock on wood, I don't want him to make any mistakes in the future, but he's looking to be a really, really good player in the future. So then my first start, same as Jude, Jason Spezza. Jason Spezza was all over the place this game. He was hitting guys. He was shooting the puck. He scored that goal to get the Leafs going. That was momentum shift. His goal completely changed the momentum. Obviously, he got fed that puck in a really nice spot, but he did finish it. There's a lot of guys that might miss the net there, not finish, but he finished. He completely shifted the momentum of the game. He came back out. He was skating. And I always say this, for a 37-year-old, that guy moves. And this game especially, he was moving, and he was shutting down the other center as well. He was winning the draws he had to win. Everything he did was this game, he just stood out to me on a whole different level. And that's good. This is the type of thing. A fourth line center is allowed to have off games because they're not supposed to be on every night. So it was his night tonight to show out, right? Because he is 37 years old. He's allowed to have off nights. But if every other game he can do something along the lines of, scoring the odd goal or just working extra hard, that's just always an upside. He's always working hard, don't get me wrong. But I mean, like a game like this where he literally looked like vintage Jason Spezza. So those are my 3 stars.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, Spezza. I just have Spezza. My other 2 probably would have been Galchenyuk and Foligno. We didn't want to go basic. Matthews. We all know how well he played. 3-point night. We're not just gonna go the easy route. So we want the plays that stuck out to us in terms of 2-way, because the playoffs aren't just a one-way. Whoever scores, it's a 200-foot arena. It's that's how the game's played. So obviously, mine Spezza. Felly summed it up perfectly. I have no complaints there. He played that 2-way game great. He scored. He got the Leafs rolling. He was doing everything you really needed him to do, kind of thing. And then also, I just wanted to point out just that Montreal had an empty net for 6 minutes. I just thought that was bold.
Yeah.
Down 4-1. So that's just my kind of final last thoughts. Eric, your MVP.
Well, my MVP, I had to choose one. I know you guys chose 3, but I can only choose one. And that was Campbell for me. We haven't really mentioned him. I know, Philly, you said he had a good game, but he's really the solid backcourt we need. We had Anderson these past 3 years, and now we actually have someone who wants to compete. The team wants to compete for him. So he played an amazing game. He had I think 20 something saves and only 1 goal against. He has 1.5 goals against average in the playoffs, which is amazing stuff from Campbell. If he keeps it up, this could be our year, right? And
Sure.
First playoff win as well. We forgot to mention that. So
Yeah.
that's amazing for him. Congratulations, Jack Campbell. Any last thoughts, guys?
I just want to say one last thing is like I personally I'm like an advocate of him. So I've always liked him. You guys know that. I don't really need to say much about him. If he's winning his like if the Leafs are letting under 25 shots in a playoff game and he's letting in one of those, everybody's doing their role perfectly. I mean, he had 2 goals last game and they're both breakaways. Not a single Leafs fan batted an eye towards that guy back there. Everybody knew that it was a traumatizing game, to say the least, kind of thing. So we all know what's next. We all know who needs to play well, and if he just does his role back there, we keep the shots to the outside. He can make a couple big saves every game. We've seen him do it. We saw him do it today. And if he can just make those big saves and we keep the shots to the outside, this should be a walk in the park.
Sure. Felly,
That's a good point.
Did you have any
So
final thoughts?
yeah, I mean that's just a good point about keeping shots to the outside. That's a really good point, and that it also it just makes me feel a little more confident in this series going on from today. Is you really can trust Jack Campbell with those shots from the outside, from the perimeter, from the point. He I don't want to jinx anything. He rarely does let in point shots. He usually makes that first save like he did today on that goal, but it's usually an unlucky bounce that happens for him or literally a breakaway. So if the Leafs can contain rushes, it should be, lower scoring games for the Montreal Canadiens in terms of them scoring. So
Yeah. And that'll do it. Leafs win 5-1. We're looking forward to the next game on Monday, and then they also have one on Tuesday. And thank you guys for watching. If you guys were watching on YouTube, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, enter the jersey giveaway, and comment your thoughts on the game. If you're listening on Spotify, we thank you. And make sure you give us a follow. This has been the Buds in the Box. Bye for now.